machine learning, as I mentioned in my previous talk, we've actually started taking AI to schools. Why? Because we thought it's important that the kids today know what AI can do for them. When we started with digital payments, there was a chaos initially because even the Rediwala had to accept a digital payment. Today everybody knows it. What we're trying to do is to create a similar environment so that my a 10-year-old child also knows what AI can do and what AI can't do and how AI can actually create problem for it. It's not only AI can do, but AI can also do it. We try to teach that child even concept of ethics. So that hopefully they'll not do something wrong. Because believe me, if AI is not used in the right way, it can actually create a problem. It can actually kill people, it can actually create accidents, it can actually stop the electricity, it can actually stop the signal if somebody wants it, right? So we need to use the technology and we need to ensure that we actually train that. But that's what we've done in schools. So I have been given personally a mandate. I come from a Ministry of Skill Development. Can I bring in courses in AI in healthcare or digital healthcare? And we're trying to talk to almost everyone to try and bring that. In fact, Rajan also has some courses. And if you have something, please come back because we would want to take that course to not a small audience, but to a much larger audience, so that everybody gains for it. Complete India needs to gain for it. For us, as Central Ministry, what we want to do is to take that knowledge to every nook and corner of the country, actually. So please come back. If you think you have an idea, please come back also on that particular part. There are concepts of metaverse. Learning and training has changed. If I can actually do a virtual movie, I can sit here and actually watch what's happening in, say, Singapore, or enjoy a cruise. I can actually possibly look at what's happening within a body of a person also. So that's the new thing which is coming in, and a lot of universities have actually started incorporating this as part of the teaching experience. There was a time that we didn't have digital way of learning. And we had expertise. I still remember going to some of the medical colleges where it was said that every medical college does not have those specialization in with them. You don't have the specialist doctors. And what used to happen was a concept of digital training, which could online training from one college who could bring to the other medical college. But this is going a step further. You actually could see what's going wrong in the body. Where is the arteries blocked? You actually see that what needs to be done to be able to do it. Right? So that's the next step that's coming. Wearable sensors we've all heard about. I'll not spend much of time. Generative AI tutors. One experience that I had, and I hope I have 5 minutes, 2-3 minutes more, 5 minutes maybe more. So generative AI tutors. Gen AI is something I just asked a question. Everybody, have you used ChatGPT? Urge everybody to start using it. Actually, it's good, right? You must use it. But I think there are doctors I've seen that they've actually started using these products for even looking at the dosage. So if you have X plus Y plus Z disease, then what is the kind of dosage that's suggested? So there are global best practices which are also available. So before they actually subscribe or prescribe the dosage, they're actually looking at it. Why not? Absolutely. And we've heard of cases where Gen AI was able to solve some problems, which maybe of a childbirth IVF case. I'm sure all of you heard that use case that's come in that case that that IVF was successful using Gen AI tools as compared to maybe a doctor. Why? Our doctors are not good? Absolutely not. Our doctors are very good. But then Gen AI and the AI tools actually can get into the detail, specific detail and more details, which at times a human mind cannot do. I have a large number of data that I can actually analyze together using the Gen AI tools, which believe me, as a doctor, maybe it's difficult because I have 100 patients waiting outside. So that's why I think at times Gen AI or AI or all these products need to be used as a tool, a supportive tool, or an enabler. That's the way things are happening. 3D printing. We've all heard of, earlier I used to give an example of, we have something called Jaipuria legs. Okay? There was a time that India was famous for it. And then came a concept of prosthetics. I still remember talking to people, when I rolled out a policy on IoT, was that can IoT together with, whatever, can be used for creating prosthetic limbs. It's become a reality today. People are creating prosthetic limbs using IoT, AI, etc. And that's where it is. There's more. There was a lady who just spoke about digital dental, I think center of excellence or something in the earlier session. There are products available which actually is going to take complete X-ray or imaging of the dental structure and actually give you solutions and also propose solutions. Are we trained on that? Look, that's something I think we need to make sure that those kind of trainings are actually built in today, because that's where technology is, right? So somewhere, I think the interventions, somewhere these new technologies. So you can't just live with the old X-rays of, the tooth. It needs to change so that the root canal actually doesn't take 3 weeks. It actually happens in 2 days' time. Right? So that needs to happen. But too much happening on 3D printing. I personally feel that I think these things should be started as early as possible in the healthcare area. So there's a lot that's going to happen in the quantum computing. It's coming. I am not going to really talk about it. Quantum computing is something where if you have too much of requirement in healthcare, it actually has the processing capability to be able to do it. So I just put the slide, but this is only, I'm not going to get into details, I think. But let's see how is it implemented. Technology, the way it's coming is, we've got LMS coming, simulation based, he spoke about telemedicine, I think we've had a talk on telemedicine, AI tools. I don't know whether so all of you have heard about a startup based out of Bangalore, and a lady who's done this startup based on machine learning. She has actually reduced the cost of breast cancer detection to almost 1/20th of the cost. So typically a mammography, if it's cost maybe 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees, the cost of detecting of the cancer using machine learning and that's the beauty of artificial intelligence. And it's totally non-invasive, non-touchable. Right? So it's basically a thermal imaging that's taken of a woman, and it tells you using machine learning that the lady has a probability of having the breast cancer or not. So can we embed this kind of courses as part of our learning? Right? Lower cost, non-invasive, and that's what I think all of us are looking for as a woman or as nurses or doctors. Future skills. So I think there's something that I keep talking about. Nurses bring in much more than technology or just healthcare. They bring in empathy. I think all of us have been to hospital for something or other, whether it's for ourselves, for our parents, for children or whatever. I think the touch, the empathy that they bring in is something which, and the precision, I think also, that they bring in is just classic. So I think it's not only that, but also with doctors, I think that's something which needs to come in. Firstly, we tell that I think there should also be course on soft skills for almost everybody in the medical profession. We say actually for everyone actually who's working, there's a need for a course on communication, soft skills, digital skills, cognitive skills, etc. So dealing with people is very important. I think that's another area this is required. Firstly, I think the way we have it today is, so this is something which I've just given an example of, AI and ML. And similarly in pathology also you've got a lot of cases where pathology, dermatology, AI and ML has been used extensively for telling. Now people are taking pictures, if there's a problem on the skin, actually people are taking pictures and sending it out and saying that look, what is the problem and what will be the problem. Cost, absolutely going down. Faster, access, no running around, things are solved. I still remember almost 15 years back, we started almost 20 years back. We started a policy on IoT, and it was part of the Ministry of Electronics at that time. And when we rolled out that, one of the things was that we earlier used to have dialysis only in the hospital. And look at the patient and the patient's family. The patient's family would travel all the way to the hospital and to get the dialysis done. Now there are centers, and if you go to Bangalore, cities like Bangalore or metros at least, there are dialysis centers everywhere, right? There are chemotherapy centers everywhere. Why and how has that happened? That's all courtesy technology. So I think we need to take technology of this kind way back to medical education. Of course, it's there as part of CMEs, but I think we need to do more. AR/VR, I'll just give a small example and close. I personally come across a lot of products developed by technology people where they're trying to use AR, VR for continuous medical education and compliances. For example, how a nurse needs to behave, say, say ICU. What are the basic precautions or basic etiquettes or this? I'm sure all of you know it, right? I don't know it maybe, but you all know it. A little as yes, most of you are from medical. But there are products which are able to now look at the, if there's a camera there, you can actually look at the compliances. There are products there which actually teach you compliances, and there are products there which actually even are able to check the compliances. I'm sure it's not part of NABH or NDL today, but over a period of time, all these products will actually be used to actually improve the compliances in the hospital, and believe me, that's possible, right? And there are products already in the market. VR simulation, he spoke about it. I think that's what we're talking about really. Personalized processing, I think I just touched upon it. I think that's going to be happening, right? If we can't do this much, I think technology is useless. Believe me, that's the way I say it. So technology is enabling you today, and I think that's something which needs to happen. And somewhere, somebody who's working in, I think we need to actually train our students, or at least give them the idea that, look, technology is together with medical education can help you to create the prosthetics you need. We've heard about artificial limbs also being created. We're in very early stages in India. Given a choice, personal choice, I would look to have, we hear of all the artificial heart and artificial kidneys created globally. Why not India? Right? That's my personal wish list. Why? Because I think we need to have little more centers of excellence in the medical education to be able to do it. Can't we do it? We are the same people who go abroad and actually create those artificial hearts and kidneys and other parts of the body, but I think it needs to happen more in India. And that's where it is. Precise therapy, I think I just spoke about on the robotic surgery. I think that's the way life is going to come in. That's the, it's, whether it's oncology, cancer care, or other care, precision is what's going to help, patient recover faster. And that is coming. And precision, whenever you say precision, it has to be coupled with technology, and that's something I think personally I feel we need to teach our students. So I think technology is a enabler, and I think big time enabler, and should be impacting, I've said doctors here, I think nurses, almost paramedics, everybody, every part, drug delivery, drug decision, drug creation, etc. I think it's just about all areas. That's coming. I just thought I'll just make half a slide on, and I'll just mention about genomes. It's the future. It's something that we cannot. So if you're talking about personalized medicine, genomes do come in. I don't think I actually looked and spoke to a lot of people in medical colleges. I don't think they're really teaching about that as on today. It's a concept that's very I think it needs to go down to a concept that, look, if we are wanting a concept of personalized care or personalized medicine, this is the way to go to it. So I've already talked about AI and tech as a partner. I will skip that because I'm sure the next person needs to come. So I think the change, the medical education is changing, but believe me, it needs to change. Happy to help. I am part of Ministry of Skill Development. As Ministry of Skill Development, we created a lot of programs on different areas. We're trying to do school students, senior students. But as a next step, what we're trying to do is to bring in AI in cross-sectoral areas, whether it is nursing, medical care, digital, etc., together with even agriculture or others. If anybody has any idea, I'd be happy, and the idea is to take it forward to almost everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. As already mentioned, the idea is to take it forward. So that's what we are trying to set here. So now I would like to welcome Dr. MMA Faridi, Dean Emeritus, Faculty of Medicine, Era University, Lucknow. Welcome, sir, and we would be delighted to hear your thoughts on this.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I'm sorry I'm a little late because I was attending another session of the studies. In fact, everything has been said by my previous speaker. She has almost everything she talked about here. We fortunately, in era for last 15 years, the college is only 25 years old. And the day it was established, I happened to inspect that college as MC inspector in 2006, and that's how I came in contact with the trustees of this medical college in Lucknow. And this so happened after coming from UCMS in Delhi, I joined here as a dean, faculty of medicine. So I've seen this college developing and using this idea of IT and AI right from 2008 or so. I didn't believe myself. I trained in a way as usually the doctors are being trained, and now the things are changing. But then I adopted it. I thought, oh, this is the need of the hour. So that's why I'm standing before you. And be able to implement almost every part which we have discussed here. This era is actually using it, and I'll take how much time? A few minutes. So in terms, I like to give you quick glimpses of what actually we are doing there in Era Medical College. See, the vision and mission of the National Medical Commission, to which came out with the competency-based medical education program from 2019. And I like to share with you people that this is an absolutely wonderful document prepared by the NMC after the MCR was abolished and the National Medical Commission was established. But unfortunately, because of COVID, this could not be implemented throughout the country. But then the beauty of this curriculum is that this has very precisely identified and calculated all the skills. See, you understand the education is a process to bring about a desired change in an individual. This is not degree, this is not the learning of subject. This is actually bringing the change. What change a doctor needs? Doctor is not treating just patient. It's not treating just symptoms. It's actually treating entire family. That was the soft skills which we discussed about active communication. Is obviously extremely important part of the patient treatment. So, with that in idea, what was thought about that there's a large shortage of the medical personnel in the country. WHO estimate says that the per 1,000 only one is should be available for one. We don't have so many doctors here. In fact, we don't have the number which are there because many of us have actually gone abroad. 60,000 doctors are actually going to 5 major countries, England and Australia and USA. And 70% of the workforce in Middle East is being managed by the Indian doctors. So can you imagine that there's a shortage of doctors, and when it comes to competent doctors, that is very important word. So NMC came out with an idea of the competency to be developed. So these competencies very well defined into that some of the competencies are to be certifiable. That means a medical student cannot appear in the examination until unless he has mastered those skills and be certified by the faculty that yes, he knows those skills. So what we did in Erasmus Medical College, that we developed a whole module in such a way that we created the system that all the cognitive domain part, the psychomotor domain part, and the affective domain, which we have started the Eklavya Kaksha in our place. Instead of self-directed learning, we thought it's a better word to Eklavya Kaksha. We do it twice a month for the PG students, where the teacher doesn't actually participate, just sits and the students themselves prepare and present it. So some of these ideas they come into it, and then we went upon with the integrative, innovative, immersive and intensive training program devised for the cognitive and affective and psychomotor aspects also taken into account. And then we went on to integrate both vertical and horizontal, which was actually mandated by the NMC. But it becomes very difficult initially because the faculty was not actually fully geared to take the cues from this. The biggest problem which we have implemented already in our college, the biggest problem was acceptability by the faculty members to go accordingly. Although the NMC has made it mandatory that all the faculty members have to undergo the basic training and the advanced training in medical education. and this became mandatory for promotion. But even that, the kind of a training which is being provided under the NHG supervised program is actually few lectures. And that is not solving the problem. The essence is not into that how this should ultimately be done. I think there's a need to develop some digital tools for training the teachers to be able to implement the mandate which has been given to us. So we try to make the interactive the integration, and for that we actually develop the entire body right from the organs to the cellular level. We made 3D animations of the entire body, and then after making those integrated, we created a lab. So our faculty members, after preparing the lecture, they can go to the lab and then submit their PowerPoints and say that this was part of the maybe of the particular organ, or they want X-ray or the MRI or EEG or angiography to be included into the PowerPoints. So that is being prepared by our team and then handed over to the faculty member for presentation. So this is how we started doing the integration with the horizontal as well as vertical integration. The another important part that we brought by the NMC is the ADCO module, Attitude, Ethics and Communication, and also early clinical exposure. Almost 30 hours have been given the first year itself. So the student goes into the hospital and see what is happening. There's a cut from the reality, but I agree with you that when robotics, even the simple operations the MS student is able to do it. They ultimately go to 6 months training somewhere in some hospitals, for example, ophthalmology. They seldom had the chance to independently do FICO and the cataract surgery. So there is a gap. Although we say it is a practical examination, but it's not a practical examination, because again it is a theoretical part, a record. So therefore there is a need to have even summative examination and formative examination have to be changed, and we still, is trying to develop some of those technologies so that we can examine the student in that way. Madam touched some of those points here. The assessment is extremely important. And one more thing I like to draw, because most of the teachers are sitting here and very esteemed faculty is here, that see, the passing marks is 50% in theory and 50% practical. It was used to be in our time, or it has been changed now. You see, they said you can have 40% marks in theory, 60% in practical, or vice versa. Aggregate should be 50%. So that means some, I say downgrade has been done. In the theory you get only 40%, 60% practical, you will pass. But then if you take it that way, you take 50% means the adult learning is parallel 20, 40, 80. 20% by didactic lectures, 40% by seeing and by listening, and 80% by seeing, by listening and by doing. So this 80%, if a student has acquired 80%, 20% gap remains. So when we certify the person pass, it's only 50%. That means 50% of the 80%, 40%. So for the doctors coming out has got 40% skills. There's a large gap which has to be filled up. And that 20% remains which has to be filled up after the practice later on. Even if a very good student, 80% marks, even then 80%, 64%. So we are producing doctors, and the Honorable Minister in the Parliament stated that we have got 840 medical colleges today in the country to fill the gap. And problems are there, enhancement is there. There are some problems at faculty level, but then the tools will be able to help us. These tools will be able to help us definitely, and we will be able to take care of this situation. As a classroom will say, the classroom can help with the 3D animation, and that can be done without the student coming to the college. That the lectures can be provided both in anatomy and physiology. We are only talking about the anatomy, but I am talking about all the subjects can be taught in this similar fashion. So what our college is doing, all the lectures are recorded. Every lecture in the college is recorded. That is and this is kept in the library. If somebody has not been able to attend or want to re-attend this just gives an application and we provide them. They can go and again attend the same class. And then another beauty is a CARE program, Computer Aided Revision and Evaluation Program. This is the patent program of ours. what we have done here is that the app is not developed. The faculty member put the 20 at least 2 days before this lecture gives the 10 questions on the topic which is going to take. Now these 10 questions have different formats. Could be MCQs, labeling, filling the blanks like this. So these questions will be visible to the student on the same day when they take the class. Suppose you take a class today morning, so at 5 o'clock these questions will be visible to the student on the mobile. He has to only download a mobile, both Android and Apple, and then he opens up with the help of the biometric system, and then again he may open it up, give it to his friend to do the questions. He cannot do because he has constantly looked at it otherwise. So AI has put it to the student is only performing. And these questions, after attending, he submits it. Suppose he does 7 questions correct, so you get 70% marks. 33 questions are wrong, so the system gives the option you know to attend again. So the correct answers of these 3 questions are given, and he attempts again. If he attends 400, then in that case, he gets 100% marks. Otherwise, he gets third attempt 90% marks. Now these marks forms the 20% of the formative assessment. So in that way, it becomes a mandatory, and then there's a whole team who's monitoring the student. If someone is not doing good, in that case, after a week, the message goes automatically to the counselor. It comes to me, to the team, and then we try to contact the person, find out what the reason why it's not good. So we have also established those a little not doing well in the exam. We have got a system for them. If they are not doing well in the formative assessment, we have got a system again based on the digital support. And then after the 3D visual, we say entire body asset has been animated into, and then the care program I discussed with you about the care which we are doing it. This is a very, very important and very interesting kind of things we are doing it. We have taken the feedback and the students like it, and suppose some student misses it. In that case, this person, this one can again approach us, and we can give the question to him before examination is generally we can give it to him. So in that case, we are able to provide them the opportunity to learn all these skills at a time, which the NMC has prescribed for us. And then another important point which we have developed is the remote patient monitoring system, which also helps, especially in conducting the death reviews. And also for our PG round, we use those entire data of the patient right from the machine, all the equipments, and all the lab is available on the dashboard. And this dashboard at the time of our hospital is a paperless hospital. So the entire data is actually goes to the HIS, and we can always take it, and then the students are always working. Another part we have developed is medical skill games. As Madam said, gamification. The medical skill games, almost 150 are available. They are shared with the nurses also, nursing college and allied sciences also be giving this, and they are real time in a virtual environment. They play the games, because they are more at ease with playing games on the computer games, so they like to play with this. And so similarly, they are given an option to how to do stitches and all those skills. These are doing by themselves. Then is another important feature is that we are manufacturing our own intelligent mannequins. The mannequins which are outside are made of rubber. They didn't give a feel of the human being. So we made our own mannequins which give a feel like a human body, and this we integrated with the games. So once you have played on the games, practice on the games, and then you come to the mannequin, and then simulation, and then that's also connected there. And this is again